to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro, Laura Rosenberg, and it is going down this weekend, guys. I'm very excited. I will be in the building, of course, at Madison Square Garden. Super SmackDown. WWE is back at the Garden for the first time in a couple of years. And one person who you'll be lucky to see, God willing, will be able to see this man walk into the building, is the man who joins us right now. We're talking about Paul Heyman. Hey, Paul.
I don't understand it. Why do you call Madison Square Garden a building? It's not the world's most famous building. It's the world's most famous arena. Look at this. I'm knocking my camera all over the damn joint here. It's the world's most famous arena. It's not the world's most famous building. We're going to a building. We're going to a shack. We're going to go hang out at these four walls in New York City. It's the world's most famous arena. It's Madison Square Garden. It's the Sistine Chapel of sports and sports entertainment. But Rosenberg is going to call it a building.
He has a point, Rosenberg. He has a point.
No, listen, Laura, if you want to know someone who gives me a harder time, maybe the only person who gives me a harder time than Ebro, it's the man we're talking to right now, Paul E. Now, Paul, this building, this arena, the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, is also, it has a lot of personal history for you. Not only is it the original home of WWE in so many ways, but it's the original home of Paul Heyman. It's where Laura, this is where as a kid, Paul Heyman started bringing his camera and just showing up every week to the matches, and eventually got his break in wrestling. Isn't that correct, Paul?
True. What an interesting question and interesting answer.
Now, but seriously, you and I have talked like loosely about this, but how old were you the first time you grabbed a camera and just said, I'm going to show up here and just make my dreams happen?
14.
Wow.
14. I covered the Madison Square Garden show, the show before the Bruno Sammartino, Larry Zbyszko Shea Stadium match in August 1980, and covered Shea Stadium, and then I had full access backstage and ringside the next show. I had just turned 15.
Imagine being 15 years old and weaseling your way and convincing people.
Oh
my God.
Whoa, weaseling. What's this with the weaseling?
Well,
Laura, it's like Paul.
I mean, hustling.
It's amazing, though, Paul. I think it's amazing.
Demonstrating street smart, savvy. How about let's go another route. Seducing my way backstage. Oh, but no, weaseling. We got the worm. This little cockroach found an opening and pulled his way into Madison Square Garden. Wow.
Now the piece, Laura,
you can sure pick them.
Yeah. Now, Laura, the piece you'd be really interested in, though, and I think the part that Paul honestly, he at least in his memories cares about even more, were the days at Studio 54. And Laura's a bit of a connoisseur of classic old school New York.
No, I'm not a connoisseur. I'm just a fan. And I think it's so amazing. And to meet someone who actually got to experience it and you actually got to document this is amazing.
Well, again, it's another place that I seduced and outsmarted and used my street smarts and my savvy and my Yiddish Kepala. Lishanat to you, Mr. Rosenberg.
You too.
And I found my way into Studio 54. And I was at first a photographer. And then I was a photographer and a publicist. And then I was a photographer and a publicist and a producer, and then a photographer, publicist, producer, promoter for Friday nights.
Wow.
That's
okay.
awesome.
On the nights that you promoted on Friday, who was the biggest celeb that you remember coming through?
Prince.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prince mid-'80s Prince, Studio 54.
So amazing.
Yeah, Prince did an impromptu concert. Something had happened with Purple Rain. It had reached some milestone, and he threw a party at Studio 54. So Prince did an impromptu concert at Studio 54. I produced Chuck Berry. I produced Liza Minnelli.
Wow.
Back. You think of any great, not chart toppers, and with the exception of Madonna, who we tried to get. She ended up doing a Sunday night at Studio, which was a John Blair party. John Blair used to throw the biggest parties in New York, and especially at Studio 54 on Thursday and Sunday nights. And she did a John Blair party on a Sunday night. But the exception of that, if you're on top of the charts in 1985, 1986, you played at Studio 54, and if you played on a Friday night, I not only promoted you, I ended up producing you as well.
Did you get to meet Michael Jackson?
Not to my recollection, and I don't recall ever coming across any photos of mine that had Michael Jackson in them. So I probably didn't. And if I did, I wouldn't be happy with that memory.
You wouldn't tell people that you met Michael Jackson? You'd cast that aside?
Oh, especially at such a young age? No.
I understand what you're saying. Let's not go all the way down that road right now. Now, Paul, Friday night, the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. What do you have planned? There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of hubbub in the world of professional wrestling this week. A lot of excitement. And you, maybe the most decorated and talented voice in this business, will, I assume, have a live microphone at Madison Square Garden on Friday night in front of the Tri-State. What do you have planned for the WWE fans on Friday night?
We're going to address this Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar situation. I'm going to address it. Roman Reigns is going to address it. And from what I understand, Brock Lesnar is going to address it. Now, whether we address it with words or physicality, that's up to Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the end-all be-all, the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, and the beast Brock Lesnar. No matter what, it'll be quite interesting this Friday.
And you promised me, though, you're willing to say right here on Hot 97 that you are 100% aligned with the tribal chief and have nothing to do with whatever sort of decisions Brock Lesnar would make.
I serve as special counsel to the tribal chief Roman Reigns. I serve as advocate for the beast Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar does what Brock Lesnar wants to do. Brock Lesnar decided to show up at SummerSlam and not tell anybody in advance. That's Brock Lesnar. That had nothing to do with me. Well, it had a lot to do with me, but I was not part of the decision-making process.
Paul, I wish you the best on Friday, because I could see that being a tense situation. I will be sitting right there watching every single minute, and I hope it goes smashingly for you.
Smashingly like I get smashed?
No, I would never take any joy.
That's what he said,
from
right?
Watching Brock Lesnar.
That's what he meant. But that's what he meant by that, right?
No,
am I right?
No, I would never want to see you get F5
smashed in the garden in your hometown in front of your own children who will be crying and weeping for the demise of their father.
I don't want to see you get F5 through a table at Madison Square Garden. No, I don't.
I'm sitting here. I call in. I have the worst allergies I've had in 15 years. Look at my eyes. Look like I've been hanging out with Rosenberg as soon as the edibles kick in. And that's not the case, I assure you, at least this early in the day.
Not now.
And I'm calling in and you're hoping I get smashed.
No.
Thanks. Thanks,
Paul,
Rosenberg.
Paul, I'd love you, and I never would wish for that. Shana Tova, we'll see you at Madison Square Garden on Friday night.
You have a lot to atone for next week.
So long, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Thanks, everybody.